Greetings, Earthlings. In this video, we're going to be wrapping up our posture series, and we're going to try to cover a lot of various things, a lot of final thoughts, just to kind of round out the presentation on posture. So you'll have to pardon me if I have to look down at my notes. And also, quick disclaimer, I'm not a doctor or medical professional, so please do anything I say at your own risk. I'm showing you what has worked for me, so please use your judgment in all this. All right, so let's just go through it. A lot of the things I'll say in this video hopefully will start to resonate because I've been mentioning versions of them in previous videos. So let me give an example. We talked about standing posture, sitting posture, walking posture, proper running form, and balance, all sorts of excursions. Now, there's so many ways that posture manifests itself. I couldn't possibly describe everything, but hopefully this will give you an idea. I just want to mainly just in this video stress that you're aware of posture at all times. So we have walking up the stairs. So whatever applied to good walking posture is still going to apply. And I'll link videos in the description, so make sure to check that out. So for example, walking up the stairs, are you pushing off, are you using your glutes? Are you pushing off from the posterior part of your body, or are you just picking up your knees and working more your quads? Same idea. So posture apply, proper form and posture apply to walking up the stairs and down the stairs. Moving everyday objects. This could be shoveling, gardening, construction, housework, so many things. You're mopping the floor, whatever it is, vacuuming, you're putting away a vacuum, all of this stuff. If your posture is compromised, you could injure yourself. So I don't want to scare you guys. I just want you guys to always be aware of it, because then you're more likely to have a nice engaged core and a good safe posture, so you don't injure yourself. So for example, weightlifting and exercises. I mean, that's a huge one, and there are plenty of specialized videos so you guys can go more in depth. For example, on the deadlift, if you're rounding your back as you're deadlifting, especially if it's heavy weight, that's going to place abnormal stresses on your back. You can very likely injure yourself. If you're squatting, if you have poor squat technique, like let's say your knees are caving in or they're jutting too far forward, again, that's going to put unusual forces on your joints. You can injure yourself. So just technique, proper form, posture, that sort of foundational stuff. Don't worry about progressing and adding weight. Make sure everything, the basics are really mastered. Let's say pull-ups. If you're doing pull-ups, people just sometimes do pull-ups randomly, but there's a technique to it. So there's scapular retraction to initiate the movement. In other words, if you're hanging from a dead hang, your shoulder is being pulled out of its socket. So to initiate the movement, you might want to pull your shoulders down to create a safer position. The point is, this is not a specialized video on that, but anything you're going to do, you should be cognizant of posture. Push-ups, what are your shoulder blades doing? Are you kind of extending all the way forward and backwards? Are your elbows flaring out? Maybe that's why you're getting your internal rotation pain. Stuff like that. Crunches and sit-ups. Although I don't recommend them, if you're doing crunches and sit-ups with your neck instead of this way, you might find you have neck pain. The idea is just to have efficient and safe body mechanics, posture and breathing at all times. Also, oftentimes you don't hurt yourself. I know for myself, I've had injuries where I didn't hurt myself during the workout. I hurt myself either in between the exercises, when I wasn't paying attention maybe during the exercises, or when I had a bad transition, or maybe at the end of the workout when my muscles were fatigued. So even then, like a small exertion becomes dangerous. So for example, let's say you did a heavy deadlift, and now your lower back muscles are kind of tired, they've given out. And now you go shoveling your driveway full of snow, you could very well injure yourself. So the point is just be aware of muscle fatigue as well, because that can make it harder to retain a good posture. So with swimming, let's say, if your body's not streamlined, as any swimmer will tell you, you're gonna, or as you probably have found out, if I'm in some weird posture and I'm trying to swim, I'm not gonna be streamlined, I'm not gonna be efficient. So that gets into swimming technique, but I'm just throwing out swimming as yet another activity that many people do where posture and technique is important. Now, I mentioned this, started to mention this in weightlifting, but this gets us to a really big issue, which is transitions. We talked about sitting, standing, walking, but what about the transitions in between those times? For example, even we go back to any activity whatsoever. So watching TV, reading a book, this is a big one, like especially for older folks, getting in and out of a car. Think about this, when you're getting into a car, how do many people do it? They basically stand on one foot and put the other foot in. So they're kind of doing like an uneven squat, or if you're an older person and you don't have a lot of muscle mass, for example, if you set your body up a little awkwardly, that's a knee injury or your back injury waiting to happen. So you're getting out of bed. So some people just kind of like do a nice fast crunch out of bed, and if you just woke up, you're not warmed up, a nice way to get injured. So a safer way might be to roll gently onto your side and then use your hands to prop up really slowly. The point is, transitions between activities really, really matter. And a lot of the injuries happen during the transition, so just be mindful of what you're doing during transitions. So with transitions, it could be, like we said, getting in and out of a car. It could be in sports. So for example, in sports, you might be running straight, like let's say you're playing football, you're running straight and then suddenly you have to cut to the side, lateral transition. Or soccer or tennis, this stuff happens very frequently. You're probably not going to injure yourself while you're just running with the ball straight. You're probably going to injure yourself when you do a sudden cut. So if you haven't incorporated that into your training, or if you're not aware of your posture and you're kind of sloppy with it, that's when the injuries might happen. So I'm not going to present how to do those perfectly, but just, you might have to look for your specific sport and discipline, but be mindful of the transitions. Also in the links, I'm going to link a few cool videos that talk about rocking. If you think about, let's say, sitting or lying down, in between those is like a rocking posture. And if you're really bad, if you just kind of like plop down, you might need to work on your rocking posture. So now that we got it out of the way, we're going to start to wrap up. So next steps and permanent fixes. So now we've gone through the videos. You guys should hopefully have an awareness, a lot of ideas, kind of like what's next. So, already from the previous parts, you should have begun, like I said, to increase your awareness. But it's going to take some time, so be patient with it. The awareness is 2/3 of the battle, though. So if you're already aware of problems you have and you're starting to work on them, that's already a great sign. I've mentioned some exercises throughout the video, but I treat this video and these posture videos of mine as just a first step. Now, at this point, I would maintain a constant awareness and go in depth perhaps on one issue. So troubleshoot specific issues by watching more videos on that issue. Remember, also, you may have to address more than one issue at a time because issues can be interrelated. And also, the issue you think you have may not be where it hurts, because that may be a compensation for another imbalance in another part of the body. So sometimes they can be very tricky to figure out. So in total, the transformation is going to involve several things. It's going to involve awareness exercises, stretches, mobility, muscular strength exercises, and the really big one is a change in habits, right? So if you're slouching like in a chair all the time, maybe you put a tennis ball, like Jeff from Athlete X recommends, behind your back to alert you to not slouch. Maybe you put up a reminder on your phone, like, don't slouch today, whatever it is. Finally, beyond posture. So, two things, variety and movement. No matter how perfect your posture is, if you're in the same position with the same posture for long periods of time, you will develop tension and poor blood flow. It's important to move, or at the very least vary your posture from one good one to another good posture every so often. For example, if you stand with perfect posture or sit with the best possible posture for long periods of time, there will come a point where your body no longer feels good. So this posture video is only how you navigate through these blocks of time. But the next frontier is really how to organize and transition between these blocks, which gets us into exercise and what you do throughout the day. Even slouching can feel good, which is why so many people do it when they're tired, because it's just a way to exert less energy and change up their position. However, with slouching, you'll quickly find that after a few minutes it feels terrible. So it's all about balancing these things out. There is a place for slouching, but not for extended periods of time. Hopefully you guys are starting to get the idea in some of these themes I'm trying to present. So let's wrap up. So in conclusion, I want to leave you guys with kind of two things. For in-depth troubleshooting, I've put in some links and resources in the description, but really, like the majority, keep exploring more on your own. Experiment, try things out, and feel free to ask me questions in the comments. Also, I know some of you have been patiently waiting for the deep breathing videos, and only after discussing the content in these body awareness videos do I feel can we truly get into deep breathing in the next videos and get the most results in the proper way. So see you guys there. You've waited patiently. I'm really looking forward to the deep breathing videos.